have this opportunity to speak about the history and the context of IOCE, which is also speaking largely about evaluation in the civil society and evaluation context among professionals. Several decades ago, a group of very committed, very dedicated persons, and if I remember right, with the assistance of Kellogg's, started a small meeting somewhere in the Caribbean. It was a small meeting with perhaps about 20 people, but these people were pioneers that actually led to the whole revolutionary movement of taking evaluation to the people through professional associations established in countries of the world. So at that meeting, there were long discussions, some agreements, also some very healthy, I would say, debates about what is evaluation, and about the fact that evaluation was not being used as it could be to help people, to help achieve development results for people in our countries, especially developing countries. And what can professionals who are already in evaluation do to promote evaluation? At the time, even the concept of WOPACE or professional evaluators associations was not a very well-known one, was not a very developed one. So the idea was to promote professional evaluation associations in different countries across the globe. And then also, you cannot just establish evaluation professional associations. You need to have professional evaluators. You need to have materials, standards, knowledge, skill sets, mechanisms for communicating these. So it was a daunting task. I don't think at that time anyone would have thought that that the seeds that were sown at that time by a handful of people who were very far-sighted, committed, and dedicated could have blossomed into the 1,000 flowers it has blossomed into today. So I really want to stress the fact that young, emerging, new, and a difficult field like evaluation came to be what it is today because of that kind of beginning. I know that there are other academic areas that have taken that same path. So a group of people coming together with commitment and dedication has been able to bring evaluation to the status that it is today. So at that meeting, there was an idea to set up sort of a global community, global association or something similar. And there were some people, some professionals selected for various parts or various activities. And thereafter, I think it would have been a fairly slow process. And that was to be expected. People worked from different parts of the world, and there was no no such excellent communication facilities as today. I even remember I had to do some things, and this was not possible for several reasons. One, of course, was personal. The other was even the idea of a listserv was something new. So those obstacles were there. However, after a process and a long time of slow development, it was possible for this group to establish IOCE. And that, I would say, is the second major milestone. That was a giant leap, in a sense, from that original meeting to this establishment. Many more people participated in that meeting, and it was another, as I said, a major milestone. And as associations of professional people with a common focus, with a common goal to promote that, that field, things happened, activities took place, and there was slow development. Many people joined. Then the International Organization for Collaboration in Evaluation moved from year to year, sometimes achieving very significantly, sometimes going a bit slow, depending on the context, availability of resources, and so on. The way I see it, one very important part of the IOC work during this time, until about the late 2000s, was to support countries to establish professional evaluation associations. I think this is very strategic. I remember working in Sri Lanka. Then I was working with the UNICEF Colombo office. And because of a lot of encouragement, inspiration coming from, I was working for UNICEF, so from UNICEF head office, from UNICEF regional office at the time, and similarly, I know other UN agencies were also giving a lot of prominence, and they have identified the importance of evaluation in making development assistance, development programs successful. By that, what I mean is trying to achieve results, value for money through those development activities. So the second significant thing that happened is that little meeting, which was held in the Caribbean, led to the blossoming of a large number of other such little meetings at national level. So in Sri Lanka too, as the M&E officer in UNICEF Colombo, I got the inspiration, the strength, the courage to propose the establishment of an evaluation association in Sri Lanka. At that time, it wasn't even clear, it wasn't even certain that such an association would be received, well received by other professionals, because there were no such evaluation professionals, although people with expertise and experience in other fields and who have done evaluations were evaluators, were accepted as evaluators, and they worked. So, so an evaluation association, Sri Lanka Evaluation Association, was formed after such a small meeting, and then gathering more people and having a series of informal meetings. And these informal meetings later became very organized, regular meetings and then activities. And there again, another very significant thing, now referring to the Sri Lanka Evaluation Association, which is one of the earliest associations, I think, in the developing part of the world, in Asia, etc. We had international conferences, biennial. And these international conferences were very catalytic, I would say. They were supported in a very small way. If you look at the financial or resource assistance, but in a really big way in terms of advocacy and technical assistance. So to these conferences, I remember for the very first conference, though we called it international, there was only one international person. But subsequently, more and more international participation was there. And the last international conference, which happened before COVID, was very well attended by international leading personalities in the field who offered their services free of charge for workshops, for professional development workshops, etc. So what this all means is that from that small beginning, when the word evaluation itself was not even very well, very much understood or acknowledged, then a small country like Sri Lanka could establish an evaluation association, take it up to a level where it was known internationally, and there was international collaboration, participation, and support for the field of evaluation. So this did not happen only in Sri Lanka. Many other countries did the same thing. Just to name a few, I remember Thailand. They wanted to establish an evaluation association. They participated in international conferences. I remember a team came to Sri Lanka as well. So 10 Thailand Evaluation Network, I believe, was established. So similarly, now I am extremely happy to see not only the evaluation associations were formed with voluntary evaluators, professionals. And, almost every country has such an association. Not only that, even a new regional association, APEA, Asian Pacific Evaluation, has come up, which is doing extremely well today, as I see it, because the existence of the national OPAs helped for APEA, and of course leadership in APEA helped it to take a few more giant steps, I would say. Now, IOC, when it was established, did not have that fortune or the privilege or the context. For many long years, it was a slow process and a very hard process, as I see it. But today, because the core of associations, not just a core. I think every country, it has grown into a national process. And there is an evaluation association in every country. And that has helped new regional associations like APEA to come up, and without having to go through the same tedious, slow steps, have been able to do wonderful things with all the countries, not only in the Asia-Pacific region, but also across the world, and to do a really wide cross-section of professional activities. So there are a few lessons to learn here, as I would say. To make evaluation acknowledged, accepted, and into a field where, if I say even thousands of people who are qualified academic evaluators who are people who have worked in the field of evaluation in various capacities, from simply like maybe a beginning evaluator, or not even an evaluator, but interested and with the potential to become leading evaluators, and others who are commissioning evaluators, who are funding this field and who want to see it develop for the purpose of helping, I would say, particularly governments, to use evaluation as a tool. Evaluation is a very powerful tool because it uncovers knowledge, generates knowledge, and knowledge is power. And that knowledge is used to understand why development programs, development interventions, let's say, work, so that we can replicate those same interventions as appropriate, but also why they don't work. Today, we do have a major problem. Again, as I see it, and what is that major problem? With evaluation having become almost a household word today, at least among people who are interested in the field, we don't see evaluation yet being used for the purpose that it should be used. To repeat, it should be used to understand why development interventions work or not, or how to develop interventions that are likely to yield results for people, SDGs, for example, in an effective, efficient, sustainable, coherent, impactful manner. I'm sure people will not disagree with me if I say that we have not achieved this. Evidence for this statement can come from many sources, including documents. For example, if we look at the SDG reports, the VNRs, Voluntary National Review reports on SDGs, I'm really not sure what exactly is the current status, probably in this year or last year, but up to a few years ago, most of these reports showed that evaluation was not used as a tool in the toolkit of countries, in the toolkit for planning, designing, implementing, and achieving development results, achieving SDGs in this case. Such a powerful tool like evaluation is not adequately used. So therefore, I would say the focus for leading organizations in the field like IOCE or regional evaluation associations like SAMIA, APIA, etc., and others, is to be very focused, is to be really very focused. How can we make evaluation yield results for people? We talk about it, but across the countries, it's not really used that much. Just a few countries do. Developed countries do better than others. And those countries that are developing, lower middle class countries, particularly, including some of the developed countries, if we understand the purpose of evaluation correctly, should be able to use it better for more effective use of resources to make this world a better place. Then the question is, why has it not happened? Starting from the initiation of IOCE, the path where WOPEs were established in lots of countries, their development partners were actually funding, supporting, providing technical assistance in a massive way. Still, why has this situation of evaluation being underused occurring? if I were to apply a theory of change to this, my finding would be that however much we did to popularize evaluation, we did not do some of the very critical, necessary and essential things to make evaluation a profession. I'm not sure how it is in lots of countries, but I know in the developing countries, I know for sure in countries like Sri Lanka, it is yet not a profession, acknowledged as a profession. It is yet not a cadre in the government. We have come some distance by having a unit that is responsible for evaluation, and evaluation being talked about, and sometimes even required. But how to do it? Where is the knowledge? Where are the professionals? Where is the wherewithal? And where is the accountability for doing it? For example, we know that every single department or a ministry in the government must do an audit. It is a must. There is no question about it. And there is an audit department, audit office, audit procedures, etc. So I want to make a comparison between audit and evaluation here. Auditing and any other profession, be it in medicine, be it in engineering, be it anything, there is a professional body that are gatekeepers, guardians, and they set the standards, they demand the standards, they decide who the members should be based on criteria. Now we have not, at first the profession was established, I would say, and then the professional associations came up to make sure that the professional standards were maintained and the professionals were developed. But in evaluation, it has not happened. So I would say right now, if the whole world was to focus on one thing, that should be to develop evaluation professionals. And then our work pace must gradually change into organizations where the members are professional evaluators at various levels, like in any other profession. So then in order to do that, what we need to do is have a way in which professionals can be established or developed. How? There should necessarily be academic training. You can't pick these up from all kinds, like workshops and other learning events are, yes, important. They are important for updating. They are really important and we don't need to debate on that. Yes, those things must be there. But gradual, systematic training in tertiary education institutions is a must. Otherwise, a person can attend 100 workshops in 100 countries, but that does not guarantee, and it should not guarantee that person as an evaluation professional. So therefore, if I were to make a plea to the world, I would say, let us all put our efforts, time, resources, financial, our intellectual resources to establish proper cutting-edge academic training in at least one country in one university, selected through a proper, transparent assessment process in each of our countries. When that happens, every year there'll be at least 10-15 people graduating. We could start it as a postgraduate course because you can bring in professionals from other fields. It's so much the better because evaluation is cross-cutting. And we also need people with some maturity and experience because evaluation is not like, for example, not like chemistry where you have to have a good chemistry background in your undergraduate studies to do postgraduate. But you can come into evaluation with many experience from other fields and it's a strength. But we have to start evaluation from its ABC and come to a stage where after 3 or 4 years in a university, you get a degree, or you come to a postgraduate diploma level and you go on to a master's. Then like in any other profession, medicine, surgery, engineering, whatever the profession, after graduation, that is after the academic knowledge gaining, training, one should work under experienced professionals to be able to go out to the field and work as a middle level or a senior level professional. And when that happens, you know, that core group of professionals we are producing from the universities through the internship or the training process, they will be a voice. They will be able to influence the governments, influence the development partners as well, to make evaluation a critical, essential, necessary component in the whole process of development interventions. And the next step would be the professional associations will safeguard that profession by setting standards, by issuing licenses where that is necessary, chartership, etc. So this is my brief overview from my vantage point and passion to see evaluation a strong profession that makes a difference to millions of people in our countries who don't need to be suffering, who don't need to be deprived. Within the existing resources, if they are properly used, we can achieve much better development results. That's my conviction. Thank you.